Hi guys, I am Megha
I'm Anurag.
and this is Poems with Friends where we read a poem every week and try to feel something. So let's get into it. Today's poem is Report to RSB by Leonard Cohen. Um, you guys might know Leonard Cohen as a songwriter if you have heard famous Blue Raincoat or some other of his songs. But he also writes beautiful poetry. So let's read this one.
Report to RSP, Leonard Cohen. Peace did not come into my life. My life escaped, and peace was there. Often I bump into my life, trying to catch its breath, pay a bill, or tolerate the news. Tripping as usual over the cables of someone's beauty, my little life, so loyal, so devoted to its obscure purposes, and I hasten to report doing fine without me.
Yeah, nice. Okay, so starting with the title, I actually googled what does RSB mean here. Oh, sorry about that.
So apparently RSB is the Buddhist master when Leonard Cohen was a Buddhist monk. This is the theory.
So he is basically writing a report to his master about life and peace. Okay, so peace did not come into my life. My life escaped and peace was there. Okay. Often I bump into my life, trying to catch its breath, pay a bill, or tolerate the news. I think let's first discuss till here. What did you think of these lines?
I think what he's saying is that it's not that my life became peaceful. He's saying that I got detached from it. Okay, somewhere things were happening, and when he stopped thinking about them, peace came. Like life. He's saying that peace cannot come into life. It's impossible. For peace, you have to push life away.
Right. So he's saying that life is this and this is peace. And life is away from you, then you can sit in peace. So I actually love the idea of how he's talking about life as a third person.
He has given agency to it. Like he's not saying, anyway, you continue.
Yes, as a third person, as in like it's a different character altogether. Often I bump into my life and it has a character of its own. Like it's trying to catch its breath, it's trying to pay a bill, or it's trying to tolerate the news. That is a lovely way of looking at things rather than again saying something very cliched like I am stuck paying the bills and I am tolerating the news. And it comes back to the point of what you said, that when you get detached then peace will come. So when you get detached, you start talking about it as a third person, right? You're so detached.
And it's not just, he's also giving that agency to life. He's not saying I went away from life so that peace was there. He's saying my life ran away, my life escaped.
Yeah, my life is the one that escaped from me. I couldn't kind of even saying maybe not keep up with it. It just went. Which is sad, but then if we got peace in return, then it's a good deal, I would say. Okay, the next lines. Often I bump into my life, tripping as usual over the cables of someone's beauty. Now this is a very interesting line which I did not fully grasp when I first read it. What did you think of it?
I think this tripping and usual is life is what it's doing.
Right. Life is tripping as usual over
I think I treated it as beauty is not there in the poet's life. The poet's life is kind of like moving, trudging along, like stumbling along, but it can see other people's beauty. But it's like it's a hindrance.
Right. That's a great point. When later I was trying to imagine it, I imagined it as like a person. So he's making his life as a different person, right? So I imagine a person who's like running around trying to catch its breath. So this person is just very clumsy and running on the street maybe, and they're trying to pay a bill, trying to do all these life things, and then they trip. And as in their life also stops. It's almost like saying when we are running around and we suddenly see the sky and it's very beautiful, like magnificently beautiful, and we did not expect it. So it's almost like a tripping motion, like oh, what the fuck, right? You almost stop in your tracks.
Oh no, but it's a cable, no? Like the cable is
Cables, I also didn't understand why.
like
there
as
were
in what
cables.
I imagined is this person is running around trying to do a lot of things, trying to be productive, trying to do something with life, right? Like there are so many things life is trying to keep up, but like looking at someone's beauty, how people are carrying their life, etc. You are tripping over. Like you are running from here to there, and there's a cable lying there, and that's a hindrance for you to go there. Like you are not able, like you are constantly seeing other people
Okay.
are not able to do your own things. So it kind of said to me, it said a insecurity, jealousy, like
Oh.
like oh, they have this, I don't have this, I'm not able to do this. And it's a self-fulfilling loop. You are stopping and you are not able to get there. So is how I.
Oh, got it. That's a very good point. I never saw it like that. I saw it as just admiring the beauty for 1 second.
Oh, you
but
said
not
the cables are like in the air, like
no,
phone cables.
the cables are on the ground. You're tripping over them, but then you are like, it's not a tripping that is making you uncomfortable. Like it's a tripping which halts you in your tracks for 1 second, but then you go back to it.
Wow.
But the very interesting point is that you're saying that you are tripping over the cables, as in it's like they are hindering you from doing what you were supposed to do, right? That's also a great point. I didn't see it like that. Then it changes the entire image of what you're looking at, right? When we are playing this movie in our heads, both of us. In my movie, there is this person running around and they trip and they're like, wow. In your movie, there's a person like, what the fuck, why are all these cables?
So you are saying that for you, life is full of chaos, full of a lot of things, but your version of life also has beauty. And when the poet is detaching also from the beauty of it. Oh, I think my version of life is just chaos. My like beauty is in the piece, in my version.
No, that makes a lot of sense, because I did not think of it that way, that what you said, that when the poet is detaching and when the life is escaping, then the beauty might also escape, right? Because it's part of that whole story. That is also a great point. Let's go ahead, maybe it will become clearer, but I think both of the ways of looking at it are very, very valid. What you said,
I can see that.
About the jealousy of someone else's life, and you're constantly tripping over it because you're not able to do your own, focus on your own things. Okay. Going forward, my little life, so loyal, so devoted to its obscure purposes, and I hasten to report, doing fine without me. I said these last lines are just amazing. Such effortless comedy. How he does it. But yeah, coming back to these 3 lines, my little life, so loyal, so devoted to its obscure purposes, I think.
So funny. This is such a commentary on our lives, like the uselessness of it.
Right. I think I want to go back to these 3 lines because they make me connect back to all this, that tripping over the cables of someone's beauty, my little life, so loyal. Why did he call it loyal? Because
so loyal, so devoted to its obscure purposes. It finds it very amusing. Like
that
when you
is
say,
fine. What I'm getting to is that maybe it is of course connected to this line, but I'm saying that could it be connected to this line in the sense that when I am looking at someone else's beauty, because he purposefully says someone's beauty, he doesn't say beauty, tripping over the cables of beauty, he says tripping over the cables of someone's beauty.
Oh, you are saying that it alludes to an idea of love or
not like being distracted by someone's beauty. Maybe coming back to your point of being like too attracted to someone else's things, or my point of being distracted by the beauty, but the life is loyal and it's devoted to its obscure purposes, that even when it sees the beauty, it will ignore it and it will loyally return back to its obscure purposes.
Oh,
I'm paying a bill, I'm tolerating the news, I'm tripping as usual the cables of someone else's beauty, and wow, this is so nice. But even the tripping over, like, it does not even have to be less beautiful. Like, it does not have to be in a tinge of jealousy. It can be, oh, this is so beautiful.
Yes, right.
But it can still be the obscure purpose to life, okay? To stop and admire beauty. Like, this is what we do. Like, when we look at life, it is doing these things. Even looking at the beauty could be a purpose, right?
Oh, okay. That's what you're saying, that even this in the list of things is also an obscure purpose, because it says that tripping as usual. That is also something that happens. So tripping as usual over someone's beauty is also something that happens. And so this loyalty is not really related to what the other point I was making, that maybe someone's beauty is trying to distract life. No. You're saying that the tripping over is also part of the list of things that life does. And then my little life, haha, so loyal, playing with its toys, so devoted to its obscure purposes. And I hasten to report, doing fine without
This is the part that I did not understand, to be honest, that you found funny. I found it funny. I just didn't understand it. So I was looking forward to your inputs here. Okay.
Why? You only said, right, that he is detached from his life. That is what he underlines again here. No? That he is so detached that he is looking at it like a third person, even as like a comical character.
So is he saying that in reality, to an outside observer, they will not find the poet acting any differently? They, like, despite us knowing this random context that he was a Buddhist monk, in this poem, is the poet saying, I was still paying my bills, I was still doing all these things to an external observer, but internally there were two people. Is the poet saying that?
Actually, it made me think of that same multiple selves thing that we were discussing that day. This poem did make me think of that again, in the sense that how he's talking. So we were talking about this theory of Nietzsche, that there is a commonwealth of selves in all of us. Like, there are multiple selves. It is not just one person. For example, I might be Megha the writer, I might be Megha the girlfriend, I might be Megha the coder. So many things I might be, and there are these so many cells inside me, and we need to create a democracy between them. So when I read this poem, it made me think of that, in the sense that there is this person which the author is referring to as life, which is a third person, and third in the sense which is one part of him, and then there is a person which the author is currently referring to as me.
But in our theory, it will be another person.
Yes, so these are two selves inside the same person. One he's calling life, one he's calling me. I mean, it's also a little unfair to call this part me and to call this part
But
just life.
for this person,
Yeah, right
everything
now
else is different. I am me. Everyone has ego.
Yeah, I mean, right now he identifies more with this part that he calls me. He is identifying it with, for example, I might say that there is a part of me that codes to earn money. So I might say, oh, that part is life. That part goes around trying to impress people, trying to get more money, trying to pay the bills, trying to do all that. And I might say the part of me that writes is me, and I might do that. But I personally don't think it's very fair. Like, both parts should be treated equally, but that's what he's doing.
That is what. Maybe there's another poem by The Perspective of Life talking about a detached person.
Yes, and this person who does not do anything all day just sits and writes, and eats all the food that I bought with my hard-earned money. That is a very good idea. We should write a poem like that. Nice. Right. Great poem.
But doing fine without me, as in what do they mean by that? That is, I didn't understand, because
maybe he means
there's a person within me who wants to have this obscure purpose, just tick all the life box that society has given us, and is ticking, has all the feelings, has everything. Now I'm the detached person. I have become like a Buddhist monk. I'm like, oh, this is whatever. I'm this. So fine without me, as in, what is
It
the poet
has-
saying that despite me gaining this separation and self-awareness, this person still is going through the beats. Like me being separate,
Right.
like a lot of people do not have that awareness. They think both of them as the same person, but this person is separated, but still this other person life does not need the poet.
Right. It has taken on a life of its own, so as to say.
The purposes are still there. The loyalty is still there. The loyalty has not unwavered despite the self-awareness.
Right. I actually, like, even when we are talking about the self theory, we were talking about how one particular self can become too strong, right? For example, if my coder self becomes too strong, it is almost impossible for me, like I am using the word me to describe the rest of myself. It is impossible for me to even stop it, even if I want to stop it. Even if I want to say that, hey, you don't need a raise, you don't need more money, I cannot stop this person anymore. This person has its own thing going on.
So this idea is new. Like, as in, till before all this, I can understand it may happen to a lot of people. These two lines seem very special to the poet. If I gain the self-awareness, all of them are talking to each other, right? So these people are not talking to each other. So how is the poet even living? Like, that is, the poet has just mentioned it as a footnote. But to me, it's very confusing. How did it even happen? Like,
but
I want to do this. I want to have the separation. But so what's the feeling behind this?
What is the feeling behind it is another question. I think it's still a little bit of amusement, but I see a little bit of sorrow in it also. As you said that, I think not even sorrow, it's like resignation. I'm doing fine without me.
Oh, I can relate to that. Because this person is so detached that resignation may be their dominant mood. It is going on, it's okay.
They are amused and it's doing fine. I hasten to report it's doing fine.
Oh, that this detached part of the poet never even bothered to interfere.
Or maybe
because they are like, हाँ चल रहा है.
They're
Like,
so
what do we get?
detached that it's doing its thing. And I think coming back to the point of even if you try to interfere, what we were talking about, that some self becomes too strong if it does the same thing for a long time. For example, if I am a person who has been doing coding for, let's say, 20 years, then that is such a strong part of my identity that even if I get peaceful or become a monk or become something, this other part of my personality is so strong that I will not be able to control it even if I wanted to control it. So the only way for me is to resign and do it. Like, even this actually brings me back to how people describe meditation, right? How he is describing his life is really a way of meditation. They say that you shouldn't try to control your thoughts, you should just observe them.
Oh, Okay, I understand it now. What about the structure of the poem? Because this is not a poem which is written very, like, they are weird spacing.
Right. My life escaped and peace was there. I think it just, this particular instance for me just accentuates the escaped.
There are two places where he does the spacing, and peace was there of someone's beauty.
Right. The second one, what does it do?
Could be similar actually. It is someone's beauty.
Over the cables of someone's beauty. So, like a different thing that he's talking about. I am actually trying to imagine if it was written normally, like here, over the cables of someone's beauty, it wouldn't have had the same effect, because I think it gives you a sense of movement, of tripping also. you are tripping over the poem also in a way. Like you're doing like this and then you should like this.
So very interesting though, because I guess it divides the poem into three parts. My peace came into my life, escaped, and peace was there. So he's reporting this, and then he's saying, "Oh, we separated. Now I sometimes go back and see how it is doing, and of someone's beauty is where the poet is describing what he has observed, and now what he feels about all this goes into the third part.
Right.
But why not choose different paragraphs?
I think it's already so short, and I think that's a great question. I think if there were multiple paragraphs, it would signify more of like a thought detachment, which, as you said, that there can never be a complete detachment, right? Because this life and this me is actually the same person. So if we divide it into multiple paragraphs, then it kind of becomes more of a black and white line. But it's never a black and white line. If I am the person who has peace and I am the person who has a thing called life inside me which is running around still, I might say that I am observing it, but there is never a black and white line. I am still inside the same body.
But I think I learned a little after discussing this thought detachment part, because when I write poem, I always go into creating a new paragraph. This
habit
you can probably tinker with spacing and tinker with the connectivity of these things. I never even thought.
I think, as you said, the parts thing works very well because in such a short poem he's able to convey so much. There is a very strong rhetoric. We had talked about rhetoric in our first episode, in which he's like, of course, conveying a very strong philosophical idea. So he's like stating that philosophical idea in the first two lines, right? And then he's going into imagery, like very strong imagery. If it was just philosophy, like if he would keep writing in the same way as these two lines, it would be a very dry poem. But then he goes on to full on imagery, and then he again goes back to like a reporter or someone who's getting philosophical, or even makes a joke at the expense of it. So I think a combination of philosophy and imagery and his diction, like a certain way of saying things, really works very well in the poem.
I think, as you mentioned very initially, the personification of my life really drives home the point of your like having separation of egos without really even trying to go there. That is what it conveys very naturally.
Very effortlessly he did it. He didn't bring a whole thing about, oh, there are multiple people in me, something. He said it in one line. Often I bump into my life. This is such a loaded line, right? Often I bump into my life. What does that mean? Yeah.
And because initially when he said, often I bump into my life, trying to catch its breath, pay a bill, tolerate the news, etc. What my initial imagery was that my life escaped, etc. So to me, initially, in the initial part of the poem, the poet was physically away from the life. Like life is like he escaped, and he's saying, oh, life escaped. Like for example, when a child will be lost, he'll be like, oh, my parents are lost. He will not say I'm lost.
That's a nice. No, I think some great points that you made there, in the sense that first of all, it's the poet who has escaped. The poet is like the poet. When I talk about the poet, I talk about the me part. The me is the one who went to the Buddhist monastery. The me is the one who went looking for peace, right? The me is the one who escaped, but he basically said, oh, I didn't escape, my life only escaped it, because maybe in a sense that I was trying to keep it here in the monastery in peace, but it did not want to be here. It wanted to be running around.
I came here looking for peace. Oh, I bring peace. But he went back. Is he saying he went back from the Buddhist monastery, and that is when the peace came, when he realized that I can live and still peace can still exist?
Maybe, but that is also a point.
Oh, but what was your
My
interpretation?
interpretation was that the life escaped because, in the sense that if I say that, hey, I want to sit here in this Matri Mandir, like some meditation chamber, and I want to meditate, but my thoughts are on the bug in my coat, and so I will say that my thoughts escaped because they did not want to be in that peaceful meditation space with me. They wanted to be somewhere else. So that's one thing. And then another thing, great thing that you said is that when this separation has happened, now there is a me and now there is a life. So when do I bump into my life is also a great thing. That when will you actually bump into your life? When it becomes so overwhelming that it takes over everything, right? Because when it's trying to catch its breath, when there is so much to do, so when this life personality has so much to do, it will take up more space.
Got it.
Nice.
The life is expanding, contracting, and
Right.
sometimes it bumps into me. Probably
I'm
they
not
are in a
getting
room,
this.
this person is meditating, life
Right.
is under control, but sometimes life is not into control, and that is when me actually notices it.
Right. Otherwise, I
This-
don't even notice that it's doing its thing. Amazing poem in such. I actually love Leonard Cohen because he says so much in so little. You remember this other, I think 6-line poem that we were reading about the lover and the lips. It was also such a short poem.
Which one?
The one with the fungus on lips growing. The man who is outside the door coughing, who will say the beautiful words and take your.
Oh, yes. It
That was
very
also
nice.
so small. It's like hardly 6 lines, and there was so much in it.
It was they were. I remember that poem now. There were two very specific paragraphs, and it was. Oh God, sorry, people.
Yeah, but Leonard Cohen is great. I think anyone who is looking to start enjoying poetry, Leonard Cohen is a great starting point because, as you guys saw, there are no like heavy words or there are no like very abstract things, and it's
There are no puzzles. Like
Right.
I think the poet is not taking enjoyment in creating a Gordon's knot and you
Right,
having
right.
to open it. He's laying it out there. He's saying my idea itself is so nice.
And I think even his songs are like that. He says things very simply, but they just touch you by the way he says it. So,
And I like these, and that is the beauty of poems. Like it's possible for you to enjoy a poem by like figuring out the puzzle. That can be a real thing, right? Like you have a feeling and you have
Right.
wrapped up it into a different
Right.
ways, and you are going through that, and that journey makes you feel it.
Actually, Aglesh made this point that he particularly enjoys poems which give him a feeling of discovery. That
Okay.
when people talk about poetry, they talk about, oh, you should read like Walt Whitman or you should read like Proust or whatever, this and that. You should read the classics, but it's not that. You should read what you enjoy reading, and you should first figure out what is it that you enjoy. For example, there is this person who will enjoy reading things that give him a sense of discovery, right? Okay, great. Let us know what you guys think, and let us know if you have any other Leonard Cohen poems that you guys enjoyed. And we will see you next time. Bye. 36 you have.